Good evening all, and let's start. Welcome to DURGASOFT, and I am Chaitanya. I will be your trainer for the next couple of months. So before going into the concept, I don't know how many members of you are employees and who has just now completed their graduation and tech or else engineering. But welcome to DURGASOFT for learning the cloud technologies. So what I provide here, or else what is the concept that you are going to get trained. I am not teaching here, and I am not giving like what I can say. I am not making you learn the concept. I am providing you the training. So training is different from the teaching and learning. Anyways, as you know about all those things, I am a trainer for you. So where I will provide the training for AWS concept, Amazon Web Services. So here, before going into the concepts, before going into the Amazon Web Services and all the things, first of all, today's agenda, what I want to share with you is, so first of all, I would like to tell you about myself, as I already gave my introduction for you. So again, so the thing is, I am Chaitanya. So I have 10 plus years of experience in trainings and as well as in I'm a system administrator. I worked as a system administrator for various companies, and I have some certifications like AWS, Azure, Microsoft, and then I have some Microsoft server certification. Especially, I have to say that Azure is different from server previously. So I am a certified Microsoft person, and I have certifications with Red Hat Linux, and then I'm a certified AWS trainer. So like that, I have some certifications. Anyways, coming back to the next concept, which I have to tell you is I have an immense knowledge on administration side. So I worked as a system administrator, like where all the servers are there, where I used to maintain all the servers, like Linux servers and like on-premises servers. I used to work for 600 servers for a very big company. I don't want to know that, but it is. I used to work for that company. So that's about myself and introducing about myself. And while coming back to the next one, so what you are going to get in this sessions, whatever the trainings that you are going to get, so what you are going to get. So be clear, be very clear here. Here I am providing the training, not teaching. So the main difference is I am not going to provide any notes for you. So notes in the sense that there is no necessity of writing the concepts. So all the videos will be available, whatever the trainings that I am providing, each and every training video, each and every day you will get the video for you, and everything will be clearly mentioned over there. Whenever I am providing the training itself, there at the point of providing the training or providing the concept. So whatever the concept that we are discussing, for example, if I am discussing about introduction to cloud, or else introduction to VPC, or else introduction to EC2 instances, or else introduction to S3 buckets. So different concepts. We are going to cover all the concepts. Among these concepts, what I am going to tell you is how the interviewer may ask the questions for you. Here, whatever the training that you are going to get, that will be completely interview perspective. So I am going to provide the training on so how you can join in a company, how you are about to crack an interview. So why? Because it is very important for you to crack the interview, and then how you can handle the situations in the company. So these are all the things that I am going to give you the training. So what are the different scenarios that will be available that you will face in the companies? So everything I will provide you training on this. So regarding AWS especially. So for example, as this is an AWS class, so we have different types of clouds. One is AWS and the other one is Azure. AWS, Azure, GCP, and then we have Oracle as also a cloud now, and VMware cloud is also available. Like that, we have different types of clouds are available. Among those, the main three clouds are AWS, Azure, and GCP. Among these three, the main cloud, which is very booming technology, the booming cloud technology is AWS, and the next place goes to Azure. So everyone will have a doubt which course I have to take, whether I have to go for AWS or else I have to go for Azure. Any cloud you can take. So it is nothing, just the names are different, just the terminology is different. In Azure or else in AWS, we will call some networking concepts are called as VPCs, and when you go for Azure, they are called as VNets. When in AWS, the servers are called as EC2 instances. When you go for Azure, they are called as VMs. AWS, the storage concept is called as S3 simple storage buckets, and when you go to the Azure, that is called as blob storage. Depending upon like this, the terminology will be different, but the concept wise everything is the same. So you will have the availability zones, you will have the regions, both the clouds, you will have the regions and availability. Concept wise both the things are similar, but why everybody are choosing AWS? What is the necessity? As you are saying that AWS and Azure, the concept wise both are the same and the terminology wise both are the same. So the terminology is different, but the concept wise and the way of expressing, the way of installing the servers, everything is same. But why AWS is very much popular than Azure? Of course, Azure is also a popular cloud, but majority 50% to 60% of cloud share is handled by the AWS itself. Why? The reason behind this is AWS is very simple to understand. It is very easy to deploy the servers. It is very easy to configure anything. So whenever you are manually configuring any instances or else configuring any servers, VPCs, anything, any resources, it is very easy and handy. You will be easily understanding the consoles. The console access will be very easy. For example, there is a game. Let me explain you like this. There is a game where you will be first given as a training. The console access will be very easy. So, but if there is another game where the controls are very difficult, so there is a game. There are two games. Among the two games, one game is very easy to play, and the other game, when you come back to this, it is very difficult. There are so many rules and so many regulations are there. So many people will choose the easiest game. So that is the reason why cricket has been very famous than the football and the hockey. There are some rules and regulations which are very tough to understand, so rather than in cricket. In cricket, it is very easy to understand. In the same manner, when you go to the AWS, the console, whatever the console that you are viewing, the console access is very easy when you compare to the Azure. In Azure, the console access where the resources are there, to get those resources, it will be something difficult. This is one of the reason. And the second reason is creating an account. If you want to do any practicals or else if you want to do any practice, it is AWS will charge you only 2 rupees. Of course, Azure also will charge you only 2 rupees for providing an account. But very easiest thing is AWS doesn't want any credit card access. So only if you have a debit card access, you can have your account. The Visa, Master, or else American Express. These are the 3 debit cards that are acceptable by your AWS account. When you come back to the Azure will only accept the credit cards to create an account. So if I have to say, whoever the people who are going to the colleges, so they don't have the credit card access. Of course, they will have the debit card access. The students who are attending to the colleges, they don't have the credit card access. So it is very difficult to create the accounts in Azure and the practicals. So it is very handy for the people who are studying, who are working, and who are interested towards learning AWS. So to create an account to do the practicals, it is very easy for them. So that is the reason. Not only that, the console access and the resource creation is also very easy in AWS. So majority number of people are moving towards AWS. So concept-wise, if you ask me, which one I have to study, whether I have to go for AWS or also whether I have to go for Azure, I will say that both are safe. The only difference is the names. That's it. Terminology is different, but when you come back to the cloud resources and all the things, both are the same. That depends upon your company requirement. I think you can choose. So that's about the which cloud I have to choose, whether I have to choose AWS or else I have to choose Azure. That completely depends upon the company requirement. But my suggestion is that you have to go through both the clouds. Cross-cloud platform is very healthy, very important for you to get a job. 90%. So why I am saying this? Because 50% of the companies are using AWS, 40% of the companies are using Azure. Or else there is a company, suppose there is a company called as ABC company is there, and this company have an AWS project and as well as the Azure project. Some IT service companies are there who are handling both the projects, AWS and Azure. If at all, if you have the both knowledge like AWS and Azure, then there is no point to reject you.
Okay, so why? Because they are looking for a pro who is having an immense knowledge or a very good knowledge in AWS and Azure. So as you have both cross cloud platform knowledge, then there is no chance that you don't get the job. Everywhere you will have a benefit of getting the job. So I will say that learn both the clouds. So, but as of now, at the first class today, or else this cloud, whatever the thing that you are going to learn, here you are going to get trained on AWS. So we are going through AWS concepts. So this is what we are going to learn. And the next question, immediately what you are going to ask me. So what are the prerequisites to learn AWS? Is there any prerequisites? For example, if you want to learn BTech, first of all, you need to complete 10th and intermediate, and then you have to learn engineering. Or else if you want to complete any graduation, first of all, you need to have 10th inter or diploma, and then you can join in the graduation. In the same manner, is there are any prerequisites to learn AWS? Yes, of course, only one prerequisite is there. Everyone can learn AWS. There is no problem with this, but you need to have Linux knowledge. Basic knowledge, Linux knowledge should be there, and networking is basic network knowledge is also required. Why? Because whenever we are creating the VPCs, EC2 instances, one server will be communicating with another server. And one more thing I want to tell you here is, here, whatever the AWS that you are going to get trained, that is completely infrastructure related. Here, there is no coding involved. Again, I'm repeating. Why? Because I will get a similar question, sir. I am a Java developer. How it will be helpful for me? I am a Python developer. How AWS will be helpful for me? How cloud is helpful for me? But is or else guys, whenever you are going for any companies, so you have to deploy the code in the instances only. You have to deploy the code in the servers only. Whatever the development team you might be, you have to deploy all the code in the servers. So if you understand the backend, how servers are created, what will be happening in the backend, so you will get an immense knowledge about how our application will be reacting to the servers, how load balancers can be configured. So these are all the things that you will understand, how an infrastructure can be created. As a developer perspective, you are the main pillar of the complete IT industry. Why? Because you will develop the applications. Whenever you are developing the applications, these applications are deployed on the servers. So if you have the knowledge about the operations also, how monitoring will be done, and how an application will be reacting to the sudden spikes, how a server will be reacting to the sudden spikes in the sense, for example, by today evening or else today midnight at 12 o'clock, Flipkart has announced a very big Dhamaka sale. Okay, so Flipkart has announced a very big sale, and suddenly at 12 o'clock, what happens? The Flipkart servers will be having very high load. Why? Because there is a huge discount is provided by your e-commerce website. So automatically the clients or else the customers who are using Flipkart app, they will suddenly try to access the Flipkart servers. Whenever any e-commerce servers, whenever they are accessing the e-commerce servers, the load on the server will be increased. How these servers will manage those loads? You try to understand all these concepts, that will be very handy for you. So these are all the concepts that you are going to learn here. So this is what you need to understand. And the next one is after learning. So these two are the basic things that you need to learn. And the next one is AWS. And after learning AWS, I recommend you to go for DevOps. So after completing cloud only, then you go for DevOps. Directly don't jump towards DevOps. It is like without completing 10th and intermediate, you are directly writing the graduation exam. Sir, why can't we write that? If you are very talented, I don't have any problem to learn, or else if you learn DevOps. But if you don't have that much knowledge, and if you don't do very hard work, then nothing useful for you if you learn DevOps directly. So if you are trying to learn DevOps directly, again you have to come back and learn AWS. So my suggestion is that learn AWS and then go for AWS. Then go for the DevOps. So this is my suggestion. You learn any cloud, not only AWS. As I am a trainer for AWS, I am not suggesting you to go for AWS, or else as I am a trainer of Azure, I am not suggesting you to go for Azure. So whatever your choice. First of all, learn cloud. After learning cloud, then go for DevOps. Why? Because DevOps engineer are collaborated with the cloud infrastructure. With the cloud infrastructure only, the DevOps will be helpful for you. Without cloud infrastructure, DevOps is not useful. So this, if you go for the company skill set also, if majority number of the job portals, if you go and search in the job portals, majority number of the job portals are asking that we require the candidates for who are having both knowledge. They are not requiring the candidates who are having only DevOps knowledge and the candidates who are having only AWS knowledge. Obviously, if you want to learn DevOps, then you need to have the AWS knowledge. But if you learn only AWS and if you apply for the job, there is no luck for you. Maybe 10% of luck will be in your hand. But if you want to get 90%, then definitely you need to go with the AWS and DevOps. DevOps is also very, very, very important for you. So learn both. So both are combination. So AWS and DevOps. So this is phase one. Whatever you are learning, AWS is the phase one and the DevOps is phase two. And then after completing DevOps, here you need to learn the next cloud. If you learn AWS here, learn Azure. If you learn Azure here, learn AWS. After learning the second cloud, then you can go for Kubernetes. Sir, what is this? Kubernetes is also a part of DevOps. But guys, what I want to say here is DevOps, Kubernetes are both are Kubernetes is also a tool in the DevOps platform only. It is a methodology. DevOps is a methodology where you will have so many tools like Git, what I can say, Terraform, Git, Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Jenkins, like that. You will be having so many for monitoring Prometheus, Nagios, and for building software development, you will have Maven. Okay, so like that, you will have so many tools. Among this, Kubernetes is also one of the tools. But to learn Kubernetes, it is not for 10 days or 15 days. You will not complete the Kubernetes, and you don't get complete knowledge about Kubernetes. To get complete knowledge about Kubernetes, minimum 30 to 40 classes are required. So I recommend you to do a Kubernetes course back after completing all these things, then do the Kubernetes course. Or else without learning Azure also, you can go for the Kubernetes course. Once you have completed this, then if you are still interested to come do the course, then you go for GCP. Finally, learn any coding language, either it might be a Python or else Java, whatever it is. So this is the path which you need to flow. So that is what I want to say. So if you follow this path, then it is very, very, very useful for you. And your heights will be very high and your job opportunities will be very high. I suggest you to complete, if at all, if you are a new job seeker, if you are a new job, like if you just completed your graduation, if you are a fresher, so try to complete at least phase one. Networking, Linux. Networking is not very in-depth, but you need to understand how servers are making the communication, how resources are communicating with the users and all the things. For that, you need to understand networking. Linux, basics of Linux is important, and then you can go for AWS and DevOps. These are important for you. If you get the knowledge about these two topics, mainly these two topics, that is more than enough to get a job. Okay, you can acquire a job very, very, very fastly if you have the both knowledge about AWS and DevOps. And then after joining in your job, within 1 or 2 years, if you complete all these things, then that will be very handy for you to gain high, what I can say, you can get very high amounts of salaries. Everything will be in your hand. So this is what I want to say. And there is a question for me. I already read that, but just give me a second. Sir, what about, sir, but where do we get AWS credits? Okay, so this is the question. Rishi, can you explain me your question once? I did not get your question, sir, but where do we get AWS credits?
Yes, sir. Like we'll take the course, and as this is a hands-on course, we need to like spawn the servers on our own, create the instances, right? How do we get the like AWS credits, like the free trial or something? Like how do we access it?
So you are having a free AWS account. You can create a free AWS account for 1 year. That means the entire resources are not free. AWS will not provide any resource for free. Some of the resources are free, I will tell you, but some resources you have to pay. So Apart from your course fee, if you want to learn this AWS very thoroughly, you have to spend minimum of 1,000 rupees. Actually, 500 rupees is more than enough. But as you are practicing multiple times, minimum 1,000 rupees. Apart from course fees, if you spend 1,000 rupees, then you can learn AWS. You will have your free tier. I will tell you which servers are freely available for you, which resources are freely available for you. Whenever we are doing the practical, which resources are costly, which resources you have to pay. All these things I will tell you at the practical perspective. I will
Sure, sir, definitely.
I will tell you about that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yes. So that's about the path which you have to learn. As this is what I suggest you to learn the course, learn the cloud and learn the courses. So don't jump directly into DevOps. Don't jump directly into Kubernetes. Some of your friends may suggest you that complete the Kubernetes course. Then you will join in a company where you are going to get 1 lakh per month. So it is not that much easy. So they are like jumping monkeys. So your friends who are doing the jobs in the IT services, any companies, they are like jumping monkeys from one tree to another tree, and you are like fishes in the pond. Okay. So they will tell you that the fruits which are on the trees are very, very sweet for you. But if you are if you want to experience them, then you have to get trained on all the things. Directly don't go for the Kubernetes. Why? Because your friends are experienced. Your friends got trained, and your friends are experienced, and they might be doing some they are managing. Actually, they are not doing work. If at all, if your friends, you can ask me, you can tell me that, sir, one of my friend doesn't know what is AWS, but he got a job and he is working. They are managing. So managing skills are not helpful for you. And as of now, layoffs are going in the companies. So I don't know who are managing, who doesn't know the subject. They will be picked out. So my suggestion is that go through all the concepts. That will be handy for you. So that is what I want to say you. So any developer, it is not for a single developer, for any developer. So here I got a question that what about the Snowflake developer? For any developer, any perspective, what you are going to learn here is it is the complete administration part. It is like infrastructure part. It is about developing the servers. It is about configuring the servers. Everything you will be working on the administration part. So whoever are working in the another development sites, I am not telling you that this might not be helpful for you. I'm not going to tell you that. Why? Because whenever for any company, if you go for any interview, they will ask you about the AWS. Do you have a minimum knowledge about AWS? So if you have the minimum knowledge about AWS, then the interviewer may proceed further. There might be chances like this. Why? Because in any interview, nowadays, previously when I used to do my engineering, when I attended some interviews, they asked me about C language. Do you have any knowledge about C language, Java language, any programming language? At that time, that is more popular. Now, when you go for any company, any interview company, they are asking you about the cloud technology. Do you have any knowledge on cloud technology? So it is not only for a single developer, for each and every developer who are developing the code or who are integrating, who are monitoring the servers, who are working as an administrators. For each and every person, cloud has been an integral part in the IT services. So it is very important to learn cloud infrastructure services. Either it might be AWS or else it might be Azure. So that is what I want to say. And with that, so what you are going to learn, the syllabus, the next thing which I want to tell you here is syllabus. So what you are going to get trained on. So first of all, you will learn about introduction to the cloud computing, how cloud was introduced into the IT world. So previously we used to have on-premises environment, and then we have migrated to virtualization, and then we have migrated to the cloud. So why we have to migrate to the cloud? Why every company is choosing the path towards the cloud? So there will be intro to cloud, and then you will be learning about VPC configuration, virtual private cloud. So this is nothing but a complete network. This is nothing but a complete organization network. VPC is nothing but an organization. Try to understand like this. But actually, this is not the definition which I have to tell. But it is like a cloud organization. So I will tell you in depth when we go for the VPC configuration. In VPC, we will be having some subtopics like VPC peering, VPC NAT gateway, VPC endpoints, VPC VPN connection, And then we will be having transit gateway, security groups, and firewalls. Like that, we are having so many different concepts which are involved in the VPC concept only. So around 7 to 8 days it will take to complete only VPC. And after that, we will be diving into EC2 instances. I'm just telling you the main topics. EC2 instances. In EC2, you are going to learn about what is meant by EC2 and how to configure EC2. Later on, we are going to learn about EC2, and later on, we are going to learn about AMI creation, volumes, EBS volumes, elastic blocks, block storages, and then we are going to learn about load balancers, how many types of load balancers, network load balancer, application load balancer, auto scaling groups, and then Route 53 configuration, global accelerator, CloudFront. These are all comes under your EC2. And then we will be diving into the directory services. We are about to learn directory services here. So I don't know how many people are there from the administration background. So if at all, if any people are there from Windows administration background, as I worked as a Windows administrator, I used to work for the Active Directory service. So this is what the directory services is all about. We will be discussing about the directory services. Once we complete the directory service, then we will be diving into IAM policies, identity and access management, where you are going to learn about providing security for your entire account. So providing security, providing permissions for your users, who are the users that are created in the AWS account, how we can provide the permissions for the users, all these things you will learn in IAM. And after completing IAM, we will be going for the S3 concept. So in S3, simple storage services, how to create the buckets and what are the properties of the S3 buckets, and then how to manage the bucket and what are the different storage classes that we are having. And then we will be learning about the access points. So after completing these access points, then we will be diving into some EFS configuration, elastic file system, and FSXI. These are all comes under the FSX. So FSX concepts like these are all comes under the storage itself. So I'm not going to make another note for this. After completing S3, then you will be learning about RDS configuration, relational database, where you are going to learn about SQL services and NoSQL services. So here we are not going into the DBMS, database management services. Here we are going for the DBA, database administration, how to create a server, how to install the database, and how to make the database highly available for the user. If one database is down, so from the another database, how we can get the data. So this is what I am going to provide the training. Here we are not going for the DBMS, like select function, CURD rules. I'm not going to say all those things. These are not necessary, and no trainer will provide that in AWS. That is completely a different training. That is database service, database management training. That is not included into your AWS. Here you are going to learn about DBA, database administration, how to create the server. That too, how to create the server. What are the different servers, or else what are the different databases that are available in AWS, and how to configure the databases. These are all the concepts that you are going to learn in RDS. After learning RDS, then we will be going to CloudWatch. So in CloudWatch, we will be having something like metrics, events, logs, and then alarms. So we will try to learn about all those things. And then we will go for cloud formation. And then we will be diving into Elastic Beanstalk. And finally, we will be learning about database data migration. Okay, DMS, data migration services I can talk, but if time permits, it is a star market, guys. Data migration is a star market. But because I need to maintain the setup, so right now I don't have the setup. If I make the setup, then definitely I will make you learn about database migration also. These are the concepts that you are going to learn. If you can see here, it is designed for the administrative. From the starting itself, I am saying that this complete course is designed for the administrations. So infrastructure development. So if you think that this course is not for developer, if the developer want to store the logs, so they have to store in the S3 bucket. If the developer want to understand the RDS configuration, then they have to learn the RDS. If the developer want to know how to provide the IAM, SNS, SQS services. SNS means simple notification services that are required for your developer perspective. So if the application is running good, suddenly there is a spike in the application. So the automatically SNS notification service has to be configured. These are all the things that are integral part of the development team only. Is the course here, whatever you are learning. If you think in the developer perspective, that will be in the developer perspective. If you think that is in the administrator perspective, it will be in the administrator perspective. I am not saying that we are going to provide the training only for the infrastructure people, or else we are going to provide only training on development. So here we have both the trainings. So that is completely your perspective, your learning perspective. Okay. And one more thing, there is a frequently asked question for me. That is there any project in this course? There is no project. So simply I can say you that there is no project involved. So the concept which we are learning is the core concept. If you understand the concept, you yourself can create your projects. Okay. So there is no project involved. I don't want to make my students stick to a single project. Okay, if I am telling, if I am making you to learn about a single project, if there is another thing that the project may not require endpoints, I will skip the endpoints topic. The project may not require NAT gateway, I will skip the NAT gateway. The project may not require S3 buckets, S3 bucket CloudFront. I can skip that. So it is not related to a single project. It is complete core concept. With the help of this, you can easily crack your interview. That is what I want to say. Okay. I think you are listening very carefully. In the EC2 concept only, I have covered that. We are going to learn about auto scaling, application load balancers, network load balancers, Route 53, global accelerator, and all the things. Okay. And well, coming back to the syllabus, this is what the syllabus that you are going to learn. And if possible, I will try to introduce you to the ECS also, Elastic Container Services. So which is like your Docker services. I will try to introduce them for you. That's about your course. And the duration of this course will be, around 45 to 50 days. I am not very sure about that. Maybe it might be extended up to 50 days, or else if I am introducing a new concept into the course, sometimes I will think that this might be helpful for my students. I will introduce a new concept into the course. Automatically, the duration will be expanded. I cannot tell you the course will be completed. So the course duration which is provided by the institute is 45 working days. Monday to Friday. The course will be commenced from Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday will be off. So I can say that 45 working days will be the course tenure. Okay. It might be prolonged. I will not say that the course will be reduced. The course duration will be reduced, but it might be prolonged. I cannot say that. It might be prolonged to 50 to 60 days. Okay, 60 working days. Okay,
Yeah.
that is about the course.
And I have one question here. So this course is sufficient to clear the certification?
Again, this course is planned completely as per the interview perspective and the job work location. So how your work will be there, how your company will provide you the work depending upon what the course is designed. 70% of the marks you will gain for the certification. Some of the students who has attended for the certification, there are so many certifications like the beginners cloud practitioner is the certification. I will not recommend you to do that. So the first level of certification, as per my perspective, as per Amazon perspective, the first level of certification is cloud practitioner. But my perspective, I would suggest you to do the associate level. Okay, cloud architect associate level is the certification which you are going to do. By doing the course, you can get 60 to 70% of the marks. But to crack that particular exam, you need to have additional 10 marks. So for that additional 10 marks, you have to work it out. So you have to go through some of the documents. Of course, I will provide the documents for you. Don't worry about that. And you have to go through the billing console, how billing will be looking like. That is also very important for you. So one of our student who has completed the course in the previous batch, same 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. batch, there is a student. She cracked the certification. She said that I have cracked the certification by taking the course. Very happy for her. But anyways, that is what I want to say. She has done the practitioner level only. But if you want to crack the associate level, my suggestion is that try to clear out the associate level. Yes, you can crack the associate level certification also. but additional 10% is your hard work. I will tell you that 60 to 70% will be my training, but additional 10% of marks will depends upon your hard work. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So that is what I can say you about. And yes, this is about the syllabus. And if you have any queries right now, you can ask me. And from tomorrow onwards, we will be going for the introduction to the cloud and then introduction to the networking concepts. And then we will be going into the AWS. Maybe by next Wednesday, I guess, we will start the VPC configuration. As per my knowledge, why? Because we are slowly going. There is another batch which we are introducing at 6 p.m. also. That 6 p.m. batch will be integrated into your batch. That will be merged into your batch so that we will be starting our VPC configuration, whatever the original AWS configuration, that will be from Wednesday onwards. That is what I want to tell. But these 6 days, whatever, like today is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be your classes, and next Monday, Tuesday, and next Wednesday. So minimum to 5 to 6 classes. You will learn the basics. Basics like what is meant by VPC, how we are going to configure, what is meant by networking, and what is IP address, what is CIDR blocks. These are all the basic things you are going to learn. So if you want to configure VPC, you need to have the understanding about the networking concept. I will make sure that we will learn the networking concepts. This will be a benefited class for you. So this is the 7 p.m. batch will be an advantage rather than the 6 p.m. batch. Anyways, coming back to the concept, this is what you are going to learn.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
What are the class durations, sir? Like you have said 45 to 50 classes, right? So one class is of 1 hour.
One class, 1 hour.
Okay, sir. 7 to 8.
7 to 8, exactly.
Okay, sir. Got it.
The timings will be 7 to 8, 1 hour. Or else it might be prolonged. 1 hour 15 minutes, 1 hour 20 minutes. It might be prolonged, but you have to
but
set
it is
your
starting at
duration.
7, right?
7 o'clock, exactly. 7:75. The class will be started.
Right, sir. Thank you.
1 hour 15 minutes. Yes, sir. Any
Will you
questions
be
from your
provided
end?
with any recording, sir?
Every day you will get the recordings. Every day you will get the video recordings. Don't worry.
Got it.
To your
Thank
Google account, you will get your video recordings. Yes.
Sure,
Any
sir.
another question?
Yeah, how many days we can access that videos? Is there any time
Sorry?
limit? Yeah, how many days we can access?
I think it is around 6 months to 1 year.
Okay.
Okay, they will provide the access for you around 6 months to 1 year.
What about material?
Material, see, we have some of the new concept may be introducing into AWS. So I say that I will provide you the material for you. Don't worry. I have my documentations with me. But whatever we are doing, that is not a theoretical part. We are completely into the practical itself. I suggest you that go through the videos once. Of course, for theory, if you want to learn theory, I will provide the theoretical concept. But anyways, if you want to work it out, go through the videos. Everything is a practical one. So once you are working out, once you are doing the practicals, write down the definitions into your rough notes. So I will suggest you that maintain a small notes with you, so that you can develop your own material. Of course, I will provide the material. Any another questions?
So you started from scratch, right? I mean, what is network and how we started AWS like that, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because I don't know anything about AWS. That's why I'm asking. But my project introducing it.
We are going from the scratch itself. We are not into a single application, how to deploy a single application and all the things. I am not going to provide that training. I am going to provide you the pure from scratch training. So how we have to understand the AWS, how we have to administer it, how we have to create the servers, how we have to create the load balancers, everything from you are going to do the practical. So I will provide you the videos. I will continuously say about the topics. I will explain you the practicals and everything. I will clearly maintain the proper understanding for you. Then you have to do your work. You have to work it out. You have to do 1 or 2 times practicals. Then obviously you are going to understand what is going to happen. Okay.
Sir, and we have 7 demo classes, right? Is that right?
Maybe 4 to 5 demo classes.
Okay,
Maybe.
sir. Okay.
It is not demo class actually. So the demo classes are only 3. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And from Monday onwards, the what I can say, the link will be changed. The Zoom link, whatever you are attending. So whoever has enrolled for the course, the Zoom link will be changing.
Okay,
Okay.
sir, got it.
I got a question here. Just hold on. The question is, I don't know the basics of Linux. Don't worry. Don't worry about the Linux. So I will try to make understanding about the basics. I am not saying about again. Linux is like a version. So if you want to learn Linux, for learning Linux only, it will take 6 months. I know what happens in the beyond. So to learn only Linux, it will take around 6 months. So try to understand what is what basics, LS, LL, MKDIR, PWD, what is the basic architecture hierarchy of Linux. If you learn that, that is more than enough for you to complete the course. Okay. So don't go very in depth into the Linux, not necessary for you. Basics are in. And we will use some AWS commands also. There is AWS CLI, AWS command line interface we will use, where we will use some AWS commands. I will tell you whenever we are into the concepts. Okay. Yes. So that's about your configuration. So what you are going to learn, and that is about my introduction and what is the path that you to learn for the cloud. And the next one is the syllabus, and the final one is, so your question and answers. So any questions you can ask me, like, please, again, I am repeating this one. Please don't ask about projects. Okay. So projects, I don't think that will be helpful for you to learn the course. A single project is not helpful for you. Why? Because the project dependencies will be different from the core concepts. Okay. Some projects will not require much more than that. So some project will be requiring only VPCs. Some projects don't require VPN. So I can skip the VPN. Some projects don't require the transit gateway. I can skip the transit gateway VPC peering. So don't focus on the projects. That is what I am saying. Questions?
Basically, I hear from some other people AWS plus DevOps is the best. So can we learn DevOps later or?
That is what I said you. This is the path I have given for you. I don't know whether you have attended from the
Yeah,
starting itself.
I joined late. Sorry.
Yeah. So definitely you have to complete the DevOps. So directly don't go for the DevOps. Again, I am saying directly jumping into the DevOps is like without learning swimming in a pond, you are diving into the ocean. Okay. First of all, you have to learn swimming inside a small pond or else inside a small swimming center. And then you have to dive into the ocean. So DevOps is like a ocean. First of all, you need to understand the basics of AWS, basics of cloud. Why? Because nowadays everything into the cloud only. We are completely emerged our IT services into the cloud. Whenever we are doing that, so here DevOps is completely migrated towards the cloud. So DevOps is like a methodology where how the user can integrate with the IT applications and IT services. So yes, without learning cloud, don't go for DevOps. If you go for DevOps also, you have to come back and learn the cloud. That's mandatory. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello,
And
sir.
all services covered in only free tier account, right?
No. Some resources are paid. Of course, it might be named as a free account, but some services are paid. That is the reason I said you that minimum some 1,000 rupees you have to keep aside apart from the course fees. Okay, to do the practicals only, keep 1,000 rupees aside.
Okay.
Yes, some other
Yes, sir.
person is asking.
So,
yeah.
I'm actually a fresher, sir, just out of college. Like I'm currently in my 4th year itself. So, but the thing is that I'm interested towards AWS. So, do you think that it would be a good fit? Like I already have a job offer. Like, do you think it will be a good fit to learn AWS before like getting into the industry itself, or should I learn it at a later part?
No, nowadays every company is requesting the candidates to learn cloud. So
Right.
I don't say you that you can learn in the later on part. I will suggest you to learn the cloud right away. So that will be helpful when you go to the companies.
And yes, sir, to get maximum out of this course, how many hours do you think, apart from the lecture hours that we would spend? Like, let's say 1 hour is for the lecture, like let's consider 1.5 hours and half an hour for just like notes and revision and all that stuff. So apart from 2 hours, how many other hours do you think?
That depends.
Like, yeah.
That depends. That depends
Okay.
upon your knowledge. Okay. That depends upon how you understand the topic.
Right, sir. Right.
So I cannot make you a false promise that you can work out for 1 hour. That's more than enough, and you will understand all the concepts. Some concepts
sir.
are very tricky to understand. So that
Right,
depends
right.
upon your knowledge. Yes.
Right, got it.
So
And
here I
clarification, sir.
Hello.
Mhm.
So Naveen here, sir.
Yes, Naveen.
Sir, actually you said about the project, right, sir? After completion of the this course, sir, can we mention the project in the resume, sir, or not, sir? Is it mandatory, right, sir? You have to mention the project in the resume, sir.
If you are working, then you have to mention the project. If you
Okay.
make it as you are an experienced candidate, and
Okay.
AWS regarding they won't ask you for any project. Again, I am
Okay.
saying.
Okay.
AWS perspective, they won't ask you. The interviewer will not ask you what is the project that you have done in AWS. They
Right.
will ask
Okay.
you that how AWS helpful for you in the project.
Okay. Okay.
With AWS, you are not going to create any project. Okay.
Fine.
So
Fine.
yeah. So there is no necessity of including projects into whenever if you are going with if you are a fresher and if you are or else including AWS in your resume, then
Okay.
there is no necessity of including project. You are
Okay.
having you can mention it as a skill set. Okay.
Okay.
I have a
Yeah.
knowledge on AWS and you have to provide the resource names and all the things that will be helpful. And I
Okay.
got
Fine.
a question here. I got a question here. Snowflake, how Snowflake developer will be helpful? This AWS course will be helpful. See, Snowflake. So it is like a combination of cloud and SQL. So where AWS will completely comes under the cloud itself. So you will have complete SQL query engine. So where you coming to so it is a combination. Snowflake is a combination of databases and the cloud. When you come to the AWS, it is only purely cloud. So for a Snowflake developer, it will be helpful to you understand the cloud infrastructure. That is what I want to say. I think Bharat is asking this question. I thought that I think that I made a clarification for you.
And
yeah.
what about Lambda service here? Did you cover in this course?
Lambda service, yes, of course. Whenever we are discussing about the CloudWatch and as well as for in DynamoDB, we are going to integrate the Lambda functions. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any another? I think Bharat is that. I hope that I made a clarity for you. Are there any doubts further apart from this? Okay, guys. So if you have all the queries cleared out and if you are interested towards joining into the next class timing will be at 7 o'clock. Exactly at 7 o'clock, we will start the class 7:75 and we will wind up the session. So these are the demo classes. So I am winding the session right now. Yes.
Hello, Chaitanya.
Hi. Tell me.
Yeah, Rashmi here. So I just want to ask you, like after DevOps, can I directly jump to Python?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You can jump into the Python. No problem. So nowadays companies are requesting the candidate to have the coding knowledge also. I don't have any problem that you directly jump into the Python, or else you can learn any another coding language also. And whatever the concepts that you are getting trained on this, here there is no coding will be involved. Again, I am repeating, coding is not involved in any, is not an integral part anywhere here. So DevOps engineer is purely working on both. So there is, I don't recommend that. I don't say that DevOps engineer will be working only on the operations, or else DevOps engineer will be only working on the development side. He don't work on both sides. He will integrate. He will work for both. So, but most probably he will be working on the operations side. Sometimes developer will ask you, developer main functionality is to develop the code, develop the application. They will ask the DevOps engineer to build the application. So the main responsibility of the DevOps engineer is to build the application, to work it on. So you don't involve much into the development perspective, but of course you will be much involved into operations perspective. As I worked in the particular platform, I can say that. That is what I want to say, and I hope I resolved all your queries. I will meet you tomorrow and discuss more on the networking concepts, basics of networking. I suggest you to complete, go through the binary to decimal conversions, which will be very helpful for you to understand the IP addressing. Binary to decimal, of course, some of the people are working, but still
you have to go through this concept once whenever you are attending that tomorrow's class. It will be very handy for you if you learn binary to decimal conversions and decimal to binary conversions. Of course, it will be like you will think that we have come across all the things. Again, we have to go back. Only for this particular concept, you have to go back to the network, but to learn the networking concepts. Yeah. So questions, guys?
No, not at all.
Yeah, thank you. That's all for today. Have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session and discuss more on AWS topics. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.